Hello, Hazel. How you been?
I'm alright. I'm a little bit stressed out right now.
A little stressed? What's going on?
Well, as you know, I'm in a graduate program right now, and I'm just really coming to near the end of my program, and I'm just finding it increasingly difficult. I'm just really stressed with how things have been going.
Okay. Now, we've talked about some different struggles you've had as you balance work and school and everything.
Right.
What specifically is bothering you now? It seems like you're a little more distressed today.
Well, I don't really know. It's just as I have told you before, I take school really seriously, and I really strive to do well in school and well on my assignments, and I just feel like I'm not performing as well as I need to do.
Now, what kind of grades have you been getting lately?
Well, I've been getting A's, but
Anything else?
No.
Just A's? Okay. That's usually considered pretty good, right?
Yeah, I just feel like it's getting harder to get the A's.
Okay, so you're working harder to get the same grade.
Right. It used to be so easy for me to do what my teachers expect and to get good grades, and now I feel like it's really a struggle, and I'm not doing as well as I need to, and I'm constantly worried about not doing as well.
Have you been getting any feedback from professors or your classmates about your performance?
My teachers all seem to think I'm doing well.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to get good feedback on my assignments, but I feel like I just, to make sure I'm doing well, I really focus on like the details, like making sure that the instructions are really clear, like I'm doing everything like perfectly as the instructor wants, because I'm really afraid that, if I'm not really clear on what the assignment is, then maybe I won't do it the right way.
All right. So before, when you got A's, you were working hard to do a good job, but not to the level of precision in terms of like the detail of the assignment that you are now. Like
Right.
You're trying to get more information about the assignments. You're working harder to
Yeah.
get the same grade that you used to get before.
Right, like I find myself like emailing the teacher, like almost like obsessively, like trying to clarify the assignment and to make sure, do they think I'm doing well in class and whatnot.
So when you're having this feeling that, I guess it's a feeling of anxiety or stress,
Yeah.
right? What's going through your mind? What are you thinking about?
Well, I guess I'm just feeling that, I've worked really hard this whole program and I don't want to mess it up now, or, because if I don't get these grades, then I feel like what was the use? Then I'm going to be ruining all this hard work that I've done this whole program if I don't maintain that level of, like you said, precision. I feel like that I've let myself down, or that I'm a failure because I just slacked off at the end of the program and it's so close to being done.
So what grade would you have to receive for you to feel like you have failed?
Probably less than an A, anything other than an A.
And right below an A is an A minus?
I mean, I guess I would be okay with that, but I wouldn't be really happy with it.
How about a B plus?
I wouldn't be that excited about that.
A B?
I wouldn't be happy with that.
No, that would be worse. Okay.
Yeah.
So an A you can tolerate. An A minus you're not exactly sure, but you think you could.
Yeah.
But a B plus and a B.
To me, like a A minus I would maybe be okay with, but like below that, like to me, like a B is a B, whether it's like a B minus, a B plus, it's all a B, and that's not an A.
So what would it mean to you if you received a B?
That I didn't try hard enough, that there's something else I could have done to do better, that I was like slacking, or I didn't read the directions right, or I didn't have enough responses, or make my paper long enough. I just didn't do enough.
That you didn't try hard enough, that you
Right.
didn't do enough. what would it mean if that were true?
If I didn't try hard enough, that I
Mhm.
was lazy.
They were lazy.
Yeah, that I could have tried harder and I didn't. So why didn't I try? Maybe I didn't care, I was lazy. Kind of like, what's the use? If you're not gonna try your best, then why try at all?
Okay. And we've talked before about automatic thoughts and cognitive distortions, right, in other sessions. And one of the cognitive distortions is this idea that an unuseful type of thinking, an errant thinking, is when you think of everything in terms of like black or white,
Mhm.
right, all or nothing. So it sounds like you have a little tolerance for like an A minus, so you're not completely there, but generally
Right.
it's kind of an A of some type,
Right.
or you're not interested, right?
Yeah.
It would get down to that you didn't try hard enough, and if that were true, then you would be lazy.
Right.
Which, having seen you in these last few sessions, it's clear to me you're not lazy. But that's the thought you're having.
Yes.
Now, it seems that earlier, in your earlier years in the program, the A's were not effortless for you, but you didn't have to work as hard for them.
Yeah.
What do you think has changed?
I'm not quite sure. Like, it didn't stress me out as much in the beginning of the program. Like, I really like school, but now I feel like I almost dread it because it's anxiety producing for me because, I'm constantly worried.
And you mentioned part of it was you're getting close to the end, right? So, but is there anything else?
Well, the only thing I can think of is we have the same students throughout our program, but I guess this semester there's a new student in the program, and now that you mention it, it seems like she's kind of really stressing me out.
How so?
Well, see, throughout the program, I kind of considered myself to be the student who got the best grades, and there's this award at the end of the program for
Mhm.
doing really well, and I kind of made it a goal of mine to get this award at the end because I felt like that would show that I really tried hard, this program really meant a lot to me. It would show people who viewed it that, I really busted my butt and did a good job in this program. And for the whole program so far, that was me. I was kind of the front runner, I guess, for this award.
Mm-hmm.
And this semester there's a new student, and then come to find out, she had a 4.0 in her other program. So
if I'm reading you right, you really didn't have any competition for this award that you were aware of.
Right.
And now you feel like you really do.
Right, I feel like the pressure's on, I felt like I tried so hard this whole program, and now, this new person comes in, and she might win it over me, so I really need to go above and beyond to make sure that I'm still on track to win this award.
And paradoxically, that's caused you to be more anxious and more stressed, and you're performing, well, you're still getting the A's, but you're working harder to get the A's.
Right, and it's causing me a lot of anxiety with school, where it's not as enjoyable for me as it once was.
So what would it mean if you couldn't get the award, if you didn't win, what's the first name of the new student?
Joyce.
Joyce, okay.
Mhm.
So what if Joyce won this award and you didn't? What would that mean?
I guess part of me feels like, then why did I do the program? If, part of me feels like if you're not going to be the best, why try? So if she got the award over me, then it's kind of like, why did I work so hard this whole time? I could have been slacking this whole time and just skated by, so why did I bust my butt if it was all for nothing? If I don't have anything to show for it.
So it's all for nothing if you don't win the award.
I mean, I guess it's not the only thing that matters, but part of me feels that way sometimes, that I have these thoughts that if I don't try my hardest and do well and win this award, then, why did I try so hard the rest of the time? That, like, it negates all the positive things. This, you know, kind of like the end result, like if you tried hard the whole race and then you lose, you know, at the end.
Right, but you're not really losing the whole race because you would still graduate.
Yeah.
Right? You're just not getting an award, which you would like.
Right.
And which would be great.
Right.
And certainly an accomplishment. But the reason you came to the program was to get the degree.
Right. I didn't even know about the award until probably like the second year anyway. So that wasn't the reason I entered. But
it's now taken on some importance for you. Winning this
Right.
award has been a real goal.
yeah.
So with the new student, Joyce, coming in, now you have this increased competition,
Right.
and it's causing you anxiety, it's causing you to work harder for the same grade. All right. So, as we talked before, you have a tendency to be, and I mean this as a compliment, a little perfectionistic, right?
Yeah.
Right? I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. If it's taken too far, it can be, right? It can be not
Right.
useful. Right? You ever hear the phrase, perfect is the enemy of good?
No.
Right? Does that make sense what that might mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this desire to be perfect or to win the award,
Right.
is potentially causing you not even to perform well, right?
Right.
You're still getting the A's, but it's causing, you know, the anxiety, and you're working hard. And
Right. And I'm not even, I feel like when I read, like I'm so stressed with if I'm reading the right thing and memorizing every word that I'm not retaining all the information. So it could, and it's starting to like impact school.
so, is there any way that you can not win the award and still walk away having accomplished worthy goals? Or does it have to be the award, or none of this was worth it?
I mean, it kind of sounds silly when you're reflecting it back to me how, you know, that I have to win the awards. Like I think that it makes sense. You know, that wasn't my goal going into it. You know, why does it matter so much to me that there's different degrees of success? I think if you said before that it's not all about the award, and I think I would be happy with just, you know, getting the degree and all the stuff that I've learned, and I would feel like it was, if I didn't get the award, rather, I would feel like it was still a worthwhile journey. But in the moment, sometimes it's really upsetting at the thought of
Yeah.
not getting the award. But that's a possibility.
The award validates all the hard work you've done.
Right, exactly.
And in your mind, losing the award invalidates all the hard work you've done.
Right,
But in reality, there's probably a between ground there, right? A shade of gray, where you're still an excellent student, you still graduate, you just don't have an extra plaque to hang on the wall, whatever the award is, right?
right,
That's really all you'd be missing.
right.
Right? Would this award have any impact on employment?
I don't think so. I don't think in the long term many people would know about it besides me, or if I put it, you know, on a resume or something. But I don't think it would make that much of a difference.
And you didn't even know about it when you first came in, you were already working hard.
Right. At the beginning, I didn't even know about it.
So in a sense, and of course we can't do this, but in a sense, if you could forget about the award,
Right.
you'd probably win it,
Right.
right? Because you're already doing so well. But it's the thought of this potential failure,
Right.
not winning the award, that's holding you back.
Right. It makes me paranoid to make mistakes or to try and take risks or to really, you know, do well because I'm so worried about judgment, like from my teachers, if I'm doing well or not.
Yeah, there's no tolerance for any type of mistake.
Right.
Right, so now that this award's out there, you really feel like you can't make any type of mistake, or you just go right to a catastrophe.
Right. Like I'm walking on eggshells and I'm just expecting my grades to tank if I kind of like deviate from that line.
So for you to feel better about this, one way, I guess, right, would be to not to not place so much value in winning.
It's really hard.
Yeah, you really want that, and it would be great, and that's okay, right? We talked about the adaptive responses before, right? What's the automatic thought you have when you're sitting there and trying to get every assignment right, and you're kind of vaguely thinking about not losing or not winning this award? What's the automatic thought that comes to mind?
You mean when I'm just doing the work?
Yeah, when you're doing your work and you sense that anxiety come on, right, as you start maybe vaguely thinking about winning or losing this award, right? I guess losing it, really. What's going through your mind right at that moment?
I guess I'm just kind of like running through a checklist, like, did I do this, did I do this, did I do this? Making sure I did everything that was expected of me.
To ensure that you're going to get that award.
Right.
Right. So at a higher level, one of your thoughts is, I must win that award.
Right.
Does that make sense? I mean, that's probably in
It
there
does make
somewhere, I'm
sense,
thinking,
yeah.
right? Is there any type of adaptive response you could apply at that moment to that statement? That kind of, well, that's an absolute statement, right? I must win that award. Is there any type of adaptive response you could apply at that moment that could counteract that automatic thought?
Did I miss win the award?
Yeah.
I guess I could say that, the award is something local to my university and no one's going to know about it in the grand scheme of things, so it won't really impact future employment or what my colleagues think of me, if I don't get the award, that they won't think less of me.
Okay. So you could say, it'd be nice to win the award, but in the end, it's not really going to make a difference in my life in terms of my career.
Right.
Right. And that's a fair adaptive response, right? You do want to win it, right? It's
Right.
truthful, and it would be nice to win it, right? Who doesn't want to win the award, right?
Right.
But if you don't, you're still a good student, you're still going to be a good clinician, and your career is still going to move on. Do you believe in that adaptive response? Do you believe that adaptive response is true?
I feel like sometimes I do, and then sometimes it's really hard in the heat of the moment to kind of talk myself down from that kind of spiral of, I'm not doing this assignment right, I'm not doing well, I'm going to get a B in this class, I'm going to lose this award. So I feel like it's hard in the moment to spiral out of that.
So what percentage of the time do you believe that adaptive response is true?
Maybe like half the time.
Okay, so 50% of the time,
Right, it depends
You
on what
buy
else is
into
going
that.
on in my stress.
and the other half, you're not really buying it.
Right.
Okay. All right. So, what advice, well, let's use Joyce, right?
Okay.
Joyce is in the same situation, in a sense, in that
Right.
she's, well, maybe not knowingly, but she's working toward this award as well.
I don't even know if she knows about the award.
Right. Let's assume she knows. Let's assume she knows about it, and
Right.
she's in a similar situation. What advice would you give her? If she's kind of obsessing about this in the same way that you are.
Yeah. I think I would tell her that, the rest of the class sees that she's doing well. Her teachers give her positive feedback. So all signs would point towards that you're doing really well and you're being very successful in the program, that you're getting positive feedback from that. So all the signs, the feedback is telling you you're doing a really good job.
So your advice to her seems positive and uplifting. Almost like your advice to her is more positive and uplifting than what you're telling yourself internally.
Definitely it is.
Yeah. So if that advice is adequate, and I feel like it is, adequate and appropriate for her, why isn't it adequate and appropriate for you?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I just hold myself to a higher standard than I hold other people to. Like if a friend of mine like Joyce would come and tell me the same situation, you know, I'd be able to could give her a whole bunch of you know, suggestions or some positive feedback, but it's really hard for me sometimes because I hold myself to a higher standard than other people.
But you would agree your advice to Joyce, as you framed it to me, is useful.
Right.
Mhm. But you're just having trouble applying that to yourself.
Yes.
So maybe that's what we need to work on a bit. So you can kind of see the logic of all this, but your feelings don't match.
Correct.
Yeah.
It makes sense in my head, and I would know what to tell someone else, but I don't always believe it when I say it to myself.
All right. So here's what I want you to do. You're familiar with the thought record that I
Yes.
introduced to you in the first session, where you can outline the situation and your feelings, and you've explained all this to me, but I want you to actually complete one of the thought records.
Okay.
I know after having said it all, it might seem like doubling the work, but I think it's something changes when you write something down. And
Okay.
You kind of have to face it on paper, and also it's a good tool to remember exactly what you're thinking. And then work through the adaptive response section. And there's some items at the bottom of the thought record, questions you can ask yourself to help you form that adaptive response. And maybe write out a few different ones.
Okay.
There's plenty of room on the form, you've seen it, right?
Right.
That's actually the largest grid. You know, the cell is the one on adaptive responses. Adaptive responses don't have to be short. Like yours wasn't short. Yours was
Right.
pretty good. They can be long, and they can
Okay.
also be realistic. Like, you know, I'd like to win. It would be good to win, but I don't necessarily have to be successful.
Okay.
Right? Adaptive response can acknowledge the downside of not having a success.
Okay.
Right? It doesn't have to be completely positive.
Okay.
Right? It has to be realistic and useful. And as importantly, you have to believe it.
Okay.
There's a place on there to note what percentage you believe that. You could write that in,
Okay.
and then we'll look at that from week to week. And you know, as we move closer to your graduation, hopefully bring you some relief on this anxiety.
Okay.
Does that sound like a plan?
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks, Hazel.
Thanks.